بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. In this blessed month, the month of Rabi' al-Anwar, was the birth of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, rahma lil alameen, and it is definitely from the sunnah to celebrate his birth sallallahu alayhi wasallam and to remind ourselves of the ni'mah, the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ala nasi jami'an, his ni'mah, his blessing for all humankind, rahma lil alameen, as he said subhanahu wa ta'ala in Al-Quran. And it has been the habit of scholars to celebrate this occasion, his Mawlid, Mawlidihi Sharif sallallahu alayhi wasallam, not by dancing, not by doing things that are not from the habits of religious people, not by saying things that are haram or shirk, as Al-Wahhabiyya claim. Al-Wahhabiyya, because of their bad manners, because of their stupid minds, they focus on his death that was in Rabi' al-Awwal, and we focus on his Mawlid because our hearts cannot take the calamity of his death sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is nothing worse than انتقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم from this dunya. But Al-Wahhabiyya, they have hard hearts. Their hearts are made of ice, and this is because of their bid'ah, their ugly bid'ah in the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the deen of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Al-Hanabila, like the rest of the scholars, authored books to celebrate this great day and this great month of his Mawlid sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And I will tell you about two types of books that scholars usually author to celebrate this. But before mentioning these two books, let's talk about celebrating the Mawlid. In the Salafi mind, they think of celebrating the Mawlid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam by celebrating the 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal, for instance. This has nothing to do with what we are talking about. We celebrate his Mawlid every day, every Monday, every hour. Celebrating something has nothing to do with making it, for instance, a holiday or an official thing in the Islamic calendar. The restricted minds of Al-Wahhabiyya see things differently. Celebrating his Mawlid doesn't get restricted because of being born in a certain month or on a certain day. We celebrate his Mawlid every day. We read these books every day. This is what you should do. As I mentioned before, I told the students that it is a very good habit to follow the awrad of the great book Dalail al-Khayrat, and it is a book that As-Sada al-Shadhuliyya recommend in their awrad and in their adhkar. And you have a wird for every day, so you read the wird of Salah ala Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But this has nothing to do with celebrating his Mawlid. You are mixing things. And what is the difference? What is the great difference that you see? In other words, when we celebrate his Mawlid, how do we do so? By mentioning what? By Salah ala Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This takes us to the two types of books, two styles of authoring books that are related to Al-Mawlid al-Sharif. A book that is focused on al-ilm. Both books are focused on al-ilm and everything. But a book that's focused on al-ilm. So the chapters are about topics and it's not written in a literary way. So it's pure ilm that talks about al-Milad al-Sharif or al-Mawlid al-Sharif, al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who is a prophet and the messenger, who is a human being, not God, like those crazy people say. An example of this in the Hanbali Madhab, a lot of examples in general, but in our Madhab we had a book that tackled the Mawlid from this perspective. The book of Shaykh Muhammad ibn Muhammad al-Manbaji al-Hanbali rahimahullah ta'ala, and it is titled Mawlidu Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, كتاب يجمع فصولا مختصرة في سيرة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. So it is one of the books that are categorized as books of seerah. It doesn't have the aesthetic value of the literary books that tackles the Mawlid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Let's read a part of the introduction together so that you understand what it's about. He said, فهذا فصل مختصر يجمع فصولا في ذكر مولد أشرف المرسلين ورسول رب العالمين وذكر طرف من منشئه ومرباه. So he's telling us in this book about his Mawlid, and he says he said these words in a way that shows you how he celebrated Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Not his Mawlid, himself. He himself was celebrated by scholars in general, and one of these scholars was a Hanbali scholar, Shaykh Muhammad al-Manbaji al-Salihi radiyallahu anhu. وذكر طرف من منشئه ومرباه وبعض صفاته وأخلاقه وآدابه. So it included a lot of things: his manners, his akhlaq, his adab, how he did things, his shama'il, in other words, like the book of Imam al-Tirmidhi, but it was a book of hadith. وغير ذلك مما هو متعلق به مما يسره الله تعالى, things that are related to him. وأمكنني جمعه مع إيجاز واختصار. So it's a concise book, and it's really a concise book. منزه عن الأحاديث الموضوعة. Here comes the job of Al-Hanabila as muhaddithin, as people who are definitely muhaddithin. والأخبار المكذوبة. So he avoided the fabricated hadith. He avoided the fabricated hadith, and he also omitted the asanid. So it's really concise, it's really summarized. معزوا إلى الحفاظ من رواة الإسلام غالبا. Then he made a very beautiful dua. Say Ameen after we finish this dua. والله المسؤول أن يبلغنا شفاعته يوم تقوم الساعة وأن يحشرنا في زمرة أهل السنة والجماعة وهو حسبنا ونعم الوكيل. Then he started the book. Actually, the first chapter was في الآيات والأحاديث الواردة في هذا الباب. The ayat and the ahadith, evidences for, these are evidences for his Mawlid? No, the importance of his Mawlid. Even in English, when something is important, you say, or when it's not important, and you want to tell people that you do not want it to be important, and you do not want them to see it as an important thing, you say what? We should not celebrate this idea. not like celebration like a carnival or a festival, or no. إلا الحماقة أعيت من يداويها. This is a type of books that you consider. This book, for instance, should be read during the month of Rabi' al-Awwal, every day maybe, with your family, even if you do not understand some of what the Imam or the Shaykh said. The other book, and this is great, this is beautiful, this should be read like the way you read Al-Burda, Burdat al-Imam al-Busiri radiyallahu anhu. The Mawlid of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, it's called Mawlid al-Rasul al-A'zam sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and this is authored by Sayyidi al-Baz al-Ashhab Qutb al-Aqtab al-Qutb al-Rabbani Shaykh عبد القادر الجيلاني الحنبلي رضي الله عنه ونفعنا به. مولد الرسول الأعظم. This is like most of the Mawalid, most of the books that authored in this meaning. They have this aesthetic value, and they have this rhythm, and they have these beautiful meanings. These beautiful meanings, regardless of showing you evidences and talking about the matter in a pure ilmi way, okay? And it has this it's not poetry, so it has this thing that is repeated every now and then. It's not poetry. However, if something like this was authored in English, they would consider it poetry. Anyways, it has this part that is repeated every now and then after finishing a specific topic. It says every now and then, صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما حتى تنالوا جنة ونعيم. And this is why we celebrate the Mawlid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I haven't talked about things like it's bid'ah, it's not mashru'. I think people talked about that, and what other people said about that should be enough. And to be honest, unless you are sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, khalas, you wouldn't be able to listen to me if you were a Salafi. Unless you are sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you wouldn't be able to listen to me. You would see me as the enemy. But if you are sincere, and if you actually listen and watch the videos to the end without just reading the title and without listening to what we say, I'm not addressing you. I'm not even concerned with you. I'm not addressing you in the first place. I'm just addressing everyone else except for you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all to his straight path. The book of Sidi Abdul Qadir is really beautiful, and the statement صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما حتى تنالوا جنة ونعيما, and you notice that it's rhyming, and this is the rest of the book. It is like that. I think we will read this book and we might comment on it. We haven't made up our minds yet. Or the book of Al-Manbaji, حتى تنالوا جنة ونعيما, so that you enter Al-Jannah, so that you are in the na'im, in the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Al-Jannah. This is why we celebrate his Mawlid, Mawlidihi Sharif sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Let's do something. Let's promise one another in the comments, or even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our witness subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's vow to celebrate his Mawlid this month by following his sunnah, the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with our families. Let's read one of these things, or any other book, the Shama'il of Imam Tirmidhi, or any other book, whatever you have. But if you are Hanbali, consider reading one of these things. This Mawlid Rasul al-A'zam, Sidi Shaykh Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, is really short. It's like very, very, very short book, and it's very nice, and it's like 33 pages, and they are really short, and they can be done in one majlis. Let's promise to do something to show our celebration, our love to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this month with our families, and to to encourage them, even if they are laymen, even if they barely pray, even if they are not religious. Let's try to do this together. In the comments, if you are really convinced with this idea, tell us. I read the comments most of the time, and tell us that you will be doing this, that you vowed to do this, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our witness. We will do it to celebrate the Mawlid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that we might be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us the shafa'ah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the day of judgment. والله تعالى أعلى وأعلم وصلي اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.